We'll start the show in just a minute, but first, a word from our premier brand sponsor, OwnerPoint.
My name is Brandon Thomas. I work with Moose Management Vacation Rentals. We manage about over 165 properties in the Park City, Utah area. We've been using OwnerPoint, I would say, probably for the last 3 years. The challenges we faced before OwnerPoint were challenges on the CRM level. So getting back to our responses, our incoming owners, and really just our advertisement in general. We specifically use OwnerPoint to acquire new owners. And not only that, but keep it in a local area for us all to be able to access their contact information, when their birthdays are, when they contacted us last, you name it, it's our central hub. Our whole office loves using their AI tool, Genie. It is one of the best tools for property managers. It helps respond to guests that are unruly. It helps respond to reviews. It helps us respond to just any and all questions that seem a little bit difficult. The marketing campaigns have really pushed our normal postcards to the next level. They're able to have map tagging and certain different tags. Every day I can go through and find somebody who's purchased a new home, and I can send them an email, a QR code, whatever it may be, a postcard, and they're able to take care of it for us. The way OwnerPoint has made my life easier is unbelievable. The amount of running around and chasing I was doing before OwnerPoint has really slimmed to minor here or there. Everything's in one spot. Everybody is taken care of with their automations and their easy to read platforms. It's one of the best products I've ever used. I would recommend OwnerPoint to everyone and anyone outside of my area. I don't want anybody to grow as much as I did for that quickly. No, but for real, anybody looking to grow their property management business should be using OwnerPoint, ContactPoint, Genie. All of their tools and marketing solutions are really the top of the line.
Ready to start growing your inventory and bringing in new properties? Head over to ownerpoint.io/Alex and Annie to see how they can help your business thrive.
That's ownerpoint.io/Alex-and-Annie, where you can turn leads into long-term relationships and grow your property management business.
Hey everybody, so for today's episode, we just wanted to fill you in real quick. As you may have been following along on social media, Annie and I have been in Italy this past week for Scale Italia, and we were at the conference that was in Florence, Italy. I have stayed a couple days extra to explore Rome. Annie is on her way back home now, but today's episode is going to be a mashup of some of the interviews that we had, just walking the floor, talking to people and getting their input on the conference. We'll say it's a different kind of conference that we'd ever been to. It was the first international event that we've been to. Absolutely amazing event. The hospitality in this city was unbelievable. Cristiana, Gianpaolo, Damien, all the staff at Scale were just incredible to work with and just made us feel so welcome, and just really interesting to talk to some of the operators. The language gap was a little bit hard. A lot of the managers were mostly Italian speaking, which Annie and I do not speak a lick of Italian. So the interviews that we had are mostly of the US based friends that we know, getting their take on the show. But we hope you enjoy it, and we will see you at the next Scale event, and we hope that you will be with us too. We're back here with the Queen Bee of Scale Italia. We've got Cristiana Carpini. He is the CEO of Terra Home Consulting and runs the show here at Scale. So good to see you, Cristiana.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. It was really great to have you here at Scale Italia. You had a lot of success, so thank you so much.
Well, we are so honored. You invited us last year, and Alex and I both decided that we had never been to Italy. We both wanted to come, so we had to do it. Although you made a very persuasive case in being I think you said you are number one first fan to listen to Alex and Annie from Italy. So you have an award for the furthest first fan that we had, so thank you very much. But thank you for inviting us, and we were telling your team earlier, the hospitality has been amazing. Your team has been very welcoming. This is such a great event. It's small in size, but it's big in its power for the industry. So I think one of the things that you guys have been challenged is some of the regulations that have been going on. And you've been very active within Italy to try to combat some of those things. Why don't you give us a little bit about where you're at with the regulations?
But in regulation, I'm part of the AMBA. So AMBA is the National Association for the No Hotels Accommodation. We are working with institutions and try to get them in the correct way, and just tell them that we are 2 million people that do this job and all that comes with these jobs, all the cleaners, all the service people. So yes, definitely we are talking as well. Right now, we put actually Florence, which is not really the most welcoming place for us. And as team, we fight like 1 year just to get all the regulation and all the documents that they wanted, because they don't want any more vacation rental. So it was returned, of course, but we're still fighting on that.
We're definitely just being in the city for the last few days. There are a lot of hotels, so and almost everyone that says hotel in the name, so it's easy to spot them. But I'm sure that's been a big part of the fight here, I would imagine.
Yeah, but when you talk with hotels, they really understand that it's not the same guest.
Yeah, it isn't.
So they have a couple that they want just to have coffee, the rooms done every day, easy life. And actually, vacation rent is more for friends, it's more for big families, more for couple with small children. For me, with 2 big dogs, so I will always go on holiday homes just to be a little bit more quiet. It's really a political things. I don't think that they're going to do too much in Italy, because we have a really high average of owners, of second home owners, even third and fourth in Italy, so they cannot really do too much if they don't want any revolution. It's like France, basically.
So this event, this is the first time or the second time for Italia?
This is the third edition.
Okay.
It's our first edition, actually. As Terra Home Consulting, we took over from Giampaolo last year.
Gotcha, okay.
We changed a little bit the location, so it's not more Milano, it's a little bit more international. And that was something that I remember Damian was like, oh, why so many foreigners? Because this year, as consulting company, we had a lot of requests from company, sure, even in the United States, they will say, oh, I want to come in Europe. So the first 2 destinations that they're always looking for is Italy and France.
There's just so much going on over here, and it's so fascinating. So being in Italy for the first time, I mean, every town is different. And what we found as travelers from the U.S., it's not as daunting to come here as we expected that it would be. Rome was like everybody spoke English. We came here, it's it's kind of mixed, but everybody's so welcoming. I think that's the thing about like the industry, and regardless of where you go, I mean, hospitality is what it is. It's always going to be the same, and we're such a great industry. And I said this in my session yesterday, is that we collaborate really, really well together, and it doesn't matter that there's this giant sea between us, we collaborate together. And I just appreciate the fact that you outreach to us and to our audience and to our listeners to bring all of us over here, and we hope that we can do more collaboration with Scale and with Terra Home Consulting.
Next year we have the Women Vacation Rental Conference. So new location, new places. We decided with Scale to take people to see new places, even because it's so nice for the cities to see all the vacation rental professional people there. So it's true that Florence was not really welcoming us, but I think that we show that we are really good industry. Next year, for instance, the region that we're going, that's Liguria, Portofino, Genoa, they are really, really waiting for us. So they were asking our presence there, and they are so helpful in all the organization, actually.
Oh, that's exciting. Was just looking at the conference schedule for 2025 over there with Boom just a few minutes ago, and we saw your events on there. So I'm excited to hear more about when all that comes out, and we'll be, of course, talking about it on the show and keeping our listeners up to date with the latest Scale news. But thank you again so much for having us. So nice to finally meet 3 blondies in person. 3 musketeers.
Thank you so much. The 3 blondies I loved so much.
We'll keep that group going.
Yeah, you have to.
Thank you. I hope you get some sleep after this and are able to
Hopefully.
rest.
Yes, and some wine.
But we Scale UK next week, so I'm not sure.
Almost there, final stretch.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're back with the one and only Richard Vaughton. Richard, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, you too, both of you, Alex and Annie.
That's us.
On the show.
It is such an honor to finally meet you in person. I feel like we've been friends on LinkedIn World and obviously the Clubhouse forever. So it's an honor to meet you, and I've had a wonderful chat with you this morning. So this is our first Scale event. I think you've been to several of them.
I think I've been to nearly all of them,
All of
except
them.
the more exotic ones recently, which are South Africa and Dubai. I think are the 2 I missed.
So they try to do them different by country. So obviously there's a different flavor in each area. What are your takeaways from this Italia event?
I've been to all the Italian ones, I think, and the reason I come is, despite the fact that there's a lot of Italians here, and I don't speak fluent Italian, me personally, it gives me a completely different flavor on what's happening in the European market. So 27 different states. So there's an opportunity for 27 different scales, of course. You get a different understanding of how things work and how the technology needs to be different and how everybody's thinking. And for me also, what's happening in the M&A market. And you just get a different flavor. It's different to the UK. UK is a completely different place right now.
Yeah, for sure. I know just for us being here, this is our first Scale event, also our first time to Italy. And it's just been eye-opening that you'll meet a manager that has one property or 5 properties, and then the next one you meet could have 3,000 or 5,000. So the range of managers has been really interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that I've learned in Europe is that there's a lot of large scale managers. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of like in between. It's like you're either kind of a smaller operator, maybe under 20, and then thousands.
Yeah, no, it's also surprised me.
Yeah.
Because we keep stumbling across companies who've got several thousand and we've never heard of them.
Yeah.
But actually, if you look at all the stats generated often by American companies, like Hostfully, they do a report every year, their numbers show that there's like 140,000 managers worldwide, I think. But in Europe, the average number of properties for a manager, a professional manager, is somewhere between 50 and 70. So there is actually a big mid-ground somewhere.
Sure.
So what I think's happening is you're getting the small guys coming here to be educated. And I just watched Damien on the book direct stuff, which was really good actually.
Yeah.
And he had a full room. So you got a lot of people there thinking, I'm going to do book direct, which means that they're not fully fledged, been in the industry a long time. And then you've got the big guys coming here, and they're coming here for all sorts of reasons. And I suspect they're coming here for tech, because there are a lot of companies are tech embarrassed right now because they've been at it such a long time.
Yeah.
But they're also coming to smell the atmosphere and see if there's to be predatory.
Yeah. We, you and I had a conversation this morning about differences between the U.S. market and kind of the European market. But I would imagine that within Europe, it's very different from, because you're in the U.K., very different from UK. You did operate a business in Italy at one point, so you've had your foot on the ground here. What are like some standout differences that you see between just UK and Italy?
Labour on the ground, who's going to work 24 hours a day?
Yeah.
You might have to bring in foreign workers for that sort of stuff. No disrespect to Italians, but they have a great lifestyle, of course, as well. The other is, of course, there's bureaucracy and administration. We have an awful lot in the UK still, and we're trying to get rid of it according to our new government. Who knows? But in Italy, and I used to work in Italy, I used to work in Milan and I used to work in Lugano, everything carries a lot of comune stamps, for example, if you want to do something. There's a lot of barriers put in your way to actually affect something. So administratively, it's a very difficult place to exist. And financial reporting, go back to the 80s and 90s when they cleaned up the mess that was financial management.
Yeah.
It still exists in terms of administrating it. So quite difficult for that, I think.
Awesome. Well, we know you have a session coming up, so good luck with that. And Richard, as always, so great to see you. And thank you for, you've been wearing, you don't have it on today, but you've been wearing our sticker on your lapel all week, and it's much appreciated.
It wasn't. Everybody now thinks I work for you.
Yes.
So the invoice will be in soon.
We're not going to correct them. We can be associated with you. That's a great thing.
Lovely to see you both.
Thank you. Thanks,
bye.
Richard.
We'll be back in just a minute after a word from our premier brand sponsor. Boom.
Hi, my name is Fred Boothby with Enjoy Unique Stays. Our main market is Chattanooga, Tennessee, but we do have some properties in Southwest Michigan and also in Western North Carolina. We have about 110 plus properties in our portfolio. The most challenging parts about running a vacation rental business is accounting. Trust accounting is always a big challenge. Operations is always a challenge. When we decided to move to Boom, there was several problems we were trying to solve or things we were trying to accomplish. One was, we wanted to be with a company that we felt valued customer service, valued our recommendations for product update requests, was responsive. Now we're certainly using it for reviews, responding to reviews. We're using it for the unified inbox, all the guest communication. We're doing a lot of accounting in there. And they have a wonderful task management. I would absolutely refer friends and colleagues to Boom. I do it quite frequently. I'm a big fan of Boom. If you're not looking for a dinosaur and you're looking for something that's going to be relevant into the future in what I think will be a very big and meaningful way, even if you think, hey, we're not really ready to switch to Boom, you need to be talking to them, because seeing where they're at right now, where they're going, there's a lot of great things happening there.
Head over to boomnow.com to see a demo of this revolutionary software, and be sure to include that you heard about Boom on the Alex and Annie podcast. Our listeners receive 50% off onboarding fees, and the first month is free. Go to boomnow.com and see for yourself how AI is revolutionizing the future of property management systems.
We're back here live at Scale Italia, and we have Alon Goldboim with Boom. Alon, so good to see you.
Likewise.
So we're actually filming this at the conference in the trade show floor. Well, one of, I think, 3 trade show floors. We are sitting across from Boom, and you've had some incredible traffic here. So far, what do you think of this conference? This is the first time for you to attend, correct?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, it's a really nice conference. I really like the vibe. I really like the attitude of the people over here. I think the Italian market in general is a really interesting market for us. With good ADR, good operators, they really want to advance. I feel that the current market is using a lot of local solutions that are not necessarily the edge of technology, you may say, but they are comfortable with it. And I think that they are getting to a point that comfortable isn't enough, and they want to progress. So for us, it's been successful so far.
So you did a presentation yesterday, and actually a presentation and a panel, and talked about how AI is impossible for some of the legacy systems to really be implemented into. And I think that's a really interesting point, because a lot of them are saying now, we're getting into AI, but tell us a little bit about how Boom was built and why there's such a difference between that influence of AI in the software.
Okay, cool. So before I even touch about AI itself, I think it's really important to talk about kind of the structure that all of those old PMSs were built upon. So the PMS industry was used to work in a model which is called best in breed, which means you have your PMS, which in general not much more than a booking manager. And then on top of it, they build APIs, and other solution went and got into the ecosystem. So basically you have kind of an environment that you have the PMS that kind of knows what it needs to know, and then you have a lot of other systems that each one of them is taking care of a specific thing. Let's take, for example, task management. So you would usually have another system on top of your PMS that has all of the data when the plumber is going to come or what's the situation of the house. And that's creating fragmented data. Now, what Boom has done different, that from the get-go, we created a whole ecosystem, which means when you're using Boom, you don't need to use any other solution, whether it's pricing, task management, whatever, we can basically do it all for you. We have it all in one ecosystem. Now, this was even prior to AI. Now, if we'll take the last 2 years that AI started to get into the kind of ecosystem and into the market, I think that it even became much more, important to have all of the data in one place and all of the functionality in one place. Because otherwise, the AI is losing a lot of its functionality. Basically, instead of, for example, a guest is complaining that the floor is dirty. So if everything is in one system, the AI could just create a task for the contractor, let him know through the CRM or whatever other media you're using, and basically solve it all in one place. Versus if you have a PMS that has an AI and your task management has an AI, they are not connected. And even if they are connected, it's not a good connection. You don't have a quarterback that is basically seeing all of the field.
Right.
And the idea is that it would be a lot harder for those big PMSs that also have a lot of clients to change their whole infrastructure. Yeah. So I think that's why Boom is different. We already built all of the ecosystem. We added the AI in each and every one of the elements.
It's a big difference.
I was talking to one of your team members this morning, Mickey, and we were talking about these different ecosystems. And so essentially, as a property manager, each ecosystem is customized to their operation and the way that they do their business. So I wanted to kind of look into, if I'm a property manager and I come to Boom, what is that process of creating the ecosystem and teaching it to handle the operation? What does that look like? And what's that time frame?
Cool.
Like?
So first of all, it's a really good question. I will never ask it. So it's a really, really good question. So in general, when you're thinking about Boom, because it's a whole ecosystem, It's not like when a client comes to me for onboarding, I'm not just putting him on the channel manager and making sure that he's on Airbnb and Booking.com. That's the easy part.
Right.
When you're onboarding Boom, it's like you would onboard 8 different products nowadays, because you have your PMS and then you have your task management, your accounting, your upsells, your guest experience. And the idea is that in Boom, we don't just give you the technology and tell you good luck. The idea is that we have a team that would onboard with you. Obviously, you would set your priority. You would tell me my operation sucks. We need to push on that way. We'll push on that front. But the idea is that we're pushing on all front, and unlike your regular PMS that would tell you, yeah, we have, I don't know, Enzo or Duve or whatever, you can do a guest experience in Boom, because it's a part of the product, will push you, will make sure you're making upsell, will make sure that the process is defined well. Plus, we bring a lot of knowledge from the industry ourselves. A lot of the employees are a kind of vacation rental industry experts. And regarding timeline, it would usually be between 2 weeks to a month and a half, really depending on kind of like the client. A lot of the stuff are coming pre-built, which means that a lot of like the messages or the upsales or all of this, you're getting them kind of seeded already. So we try to give you kind of like a best in practice or already built in best practices. And then you can modify it through time and make sure that you're doing the best for your company. But the idea is to really, we call it plug and manage. You plug Boom and you start to manage your company. Obviously, we can later on do improvement, getting more accustomed to your way. But the idea that it's working out of the box.
Well, and it was interesting because the way he explained it to me, and I thought this was a great analogy, was that, you know, when you change a PMS, it's a heavy lift for a company to be able to do that. And he said, but you've got the core, the heart of your business, and you have to transplant that heart from one system to another, and that your team is making sure that that transplant goes smooth. So you have a team of people that are going to keep the heart pumping and move it over and get everything all put together. And I thought that's such a great way to look at the system.
I agree. So I think when you're talking about onboarding in general, there are 2 parts. First of all is the heart transplant. For me, to make sure you're managing, 100 properties, you want all of them to run on Airbnb or Booking.com, the main channels, we have to get that up and running within a day or 2. And the first step, we're actually doing for you. Because we don't want any mistake over there, especially on a large scale. So we usually do it for the client, which also removes a lot of the stress level that clients usually have with the transfer. And then afterward, the second phase of onboarding, once the heart is there, everything is good, then we can start working on the muscles, on the rest of the body to make sure that it's working properly.
Right. So what if a property manager, if they're using an external system right now, like a Breezeway or another sort of task management maintenance module, you're moving things from their PMS, but are you also having to move things from those systems as well? Or what does that look like?
So again, for the kind of like more, let's call it bigger system, we have migrations plan that we can do. Usually it's rather quick, not a lot of problem regarding that. I don't see a lot of issues regarding like those type of moves. The main move that people are really afraid of is usually just the channel part. All the rest is kind of like because it's real estate. You have to produce money. It's your owners. It's not joke.
Well, we're excited to see that there is a PMS that can actually deliver on promises to do a quick onboarding, because we've been in this for many years, and onboarding a PMS can take 6 months up to a year. I mean, it's very monotonous and can be very frustrating. So
I think you interview a couple of our clients already.
I've never heard somebody say that they love their PMS, but I've heard many of Boom's clients say that. I'm like, this is pretty cool. But awesome. Well, thank you, Alan. It's so good to see you and finally meet you in person too. So
likewise, ladies. Great seeing you.
Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We're back with the one and only Marcus Rader from Hostaway. So good to see you, as always.
Well, nice to see you as well, and welcome to Italy.
Thank you so much. We did just talk to you yesterday, and so you've relocated from Canada and are now in Warsaw, Poland. You're probably the most well-traveled CEO that we know. Wanted to get your take on coming to Scale Italy, what this conference has done for your business.
I think the Scale events are absolutely fantastic because they're very local. One proof of that here is that most of the sessions are in Italian. So if you want to get a gauge of what's going on in a local market, this is a really great event. We're here because we have a team in Italy. We have a lot of customers in Italy, but we're looking to expand. I came to check it out in person so that I know what's going on, and now I have all the information I need. I can go home and we can get our team working.
And you gave us some great pizza recommendations, so we're very appreciative of that. So we were talking a little bit yesterday, and you were filling us in on, I mean, you guys have just grown so much in the last few years, and you have, I think, the most property managers in the most different countries globally. So what's the plan next? I mean, world domination seems like
I think
must
it's
be
the
imminent.
only option. Well, the software market is consolidating. It's been for many years in the US. It's been consolidating mostly in HabitIQ. I guess they have been leading that, but HabitIQ hasn't really worked too well. For example, they bought LiveRes, and then turns out they can't update the system to meet the needs of their customers. So they bought LMPM and renamed it to LiveRes Ignite, and now they want people to switch, but turns out LiveRes Ignite doesn't suit the needs either, so we're getting a lot of customers from there. And meanwhile, Guesty is also acquiring a lot of companies. Typically there's two ways to grow. One is organic and the other one is inorganic, which means you buy other companies that hope for the best. Both are okay. I can say the organic growth that we're doing, it's a lot harder because it requires you to make sure that your customers are extremely satisfied, that they all give you 5-star reviews, that you have a steady stream of new customers, that you're constantly innovating the product, and that you're not playing any tricks with anyone, that you're friends with everyone. And that's really, really hard to do. Going out, getting money and buying other companies, that's very easy. That's the easy way to go. We never wanted to go the easy way. We want the hard way. We want to be challenged by our customers, by our partners, by our staff, and we're doing that every day.
So one of the things that has been kind of hot topic of all the shows this fall is AI and the AI component being in the PMSs. What do you see? Because I think, to your point, there's a lot of PMSs out there and they're not able to deliver upon the promises that they had for long-term viability for a property manager. So what is HostAway doing to be able to integrate new options and I guess add the AI within the system?
We're always trying to be the first ones. So this year we were the first to deliver AI-generated responses to guest questions. And we have since also, you can edit property descriptions. And soon we'll have replies to reviews and guest reviews by AI. I've been to a few European conferences and regulation seems to be a much harder topic than AI right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you've got a big event coming up very soon here. You've got Hostcello, which is going to be the biggest PMS conference, it sounds like, that's happened to date. Tell us a little bit about that.
I've been to a lot of vacation rental conferences over the last 10 years, and there's 3 things that are missing from every single conference. Some of them have a part of it, but I wanted to see a vacation rental conference that combines neon lights with palm trees and heavy metal. And there's not a single vacation rental conference for that.
How could that not happen?
Yeah, so we thought, let's do exactly that. We'll have those 3 things get together in perfect harmony.
Now, are you wearing a similar jacket? Is this the one you had yesterday with the...
Yes.
Oh, wow. Look at the
So
inside.
Marcus's jacket, if you can see that there, he's a quintessential hard rock heavy metal guy.
I've got Ride the Lightning here because the song Creeping Death is one of my favorites, and it's been really inspiring to me.
Well, great. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for stopping by. It's good to see you. We hope to see you at another Scale event, maybe in Poland. Who knows?
Yes, I went to Vacation Rental World Summit and their DNA was giving a presentation. So Warsaw is the fastest growing short-term rental market in the entire Europe this year.
Okay.
And Europe is growing a lot faster than North America as well. So I'm in the right spot.
You're in the right spot. Was that planned or just
No,
people are following Marcus?
I was just shocked when I saw the graph. But it makes sense because 20 years ago, people went to Italy. 20 years ago, 50 years ago, people went to Spain. 20 years ago, nobody went to Poland. Now, a huge amount of people are going there. So, of course, it's growing faster than a market that's 50 years old.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you. You always have great insight. We cannot wait to hear how your Hostcello goes. We know we'll see that over social media. But thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.
And we're back with a familiar face. We've got John on, who is the founder of Tech Tape and great friend of the show for many years now. So good to see you, John.
Good to see you, ladies.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have you on. I have been a very bad scheduler, and I apologize. You've been been wanting to like sit down and talk with us for a long time. So sorry, but we did come all this way to Italy, and it would be a shame.
Internationally, right?
Right? Exactly. We had to go all this way to see each other. So you've been traveling the show circuit all over the world this year. Wanted to get your take on the Scale events related to like maybe the events in the US and what do you see the differences are?
I go to a lot of Scale events, and it's really good because it brings a very local market and culture with kind of the international, right? And so I was in Dubai a couple of weeks ago, and you learn about that Dubai market and what they're going through. But then we can bring kind of some of the things, advancements or new technologies that we that we use in the United States, and we're in Italy now. And so again, if you look at the all the exhibitors and vendors here, most of them are very local, right? Local companies. But then you have, like the Hostaways and others that we're all familiar with. It's not the same thing all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I like to go to the Scale events. I learn about the different markets.
Yeah. Just looking around this room right now, there's so many vendors in here that I've actually never even heard of before. So it's amazing how many companies are out there, how many amazing and different ways there are to do this business. Briefly tell our audience a little bit about Tech Tape, because I remember when you first started it, you were telling us about the idea of it, and I think it's great what you're doing for the industry. So tell us just a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Tech Tape at a high level, we're basically enabling property managers to get the best out of the best-in-class technology that's in the industry. So the two services that we provide revenue management services, and we use dynamic pricing tools that everybody else has access to, but we're able to actually implement the right strategies and adjust it according to their preference and their market and whatnot. And we oftentimes have some, eye-popping results because we're able to implement that. The other, it's in the same vein, when property managers have their tech stack, and unfortunately they're always going to have pain points with their tech stack, then we're able to tailor mini solutions that sit on top of their existing tech stack to make it work for their business. But really the concept is that we're not trying to recreate a Price Labs. They've created a great tool, and we're able to work with the great tools that are out there.
Well, great. Well, I think what we want to do, John, is have you on for an episode to really talk about that, because I think that the PMS technology right now is going through a metamorphosis, especially with the AI component, and would love to get your thoughts on how this is going to move forward with what you're doing with Tech Tape. So just as a wrap up for this, what is your big takeaway for Scale Italia?
Of the Scale events that I've been to, much stronger local flavor here than some of the other events that I had been to. It's almost like there's a niche industry just for Italy, but they have all the different, solutions that we have, just different companies doing it. So big picture, I would imagine that some of the larger players could probably look at merging or acquiring with some of the smaller, some of the players here. But the event overall, I think the combination of sessions in Italian and in English, it all kind of merges everything together, and getting a lot out of this conference.
As well together for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping by, John. We will definitely get you on for a full episode. We've been meaning to do this for a long time, and it's our fault. But wishing you the best of the show and safe travels back home.
You guys too. Thanks. Bye.